my name's Paige. Welcome to my channel. So I'm coming to you today with something a little bit different. My birthday actually recently passed, and for my birthday I got some Barnes & Noble gift cards to spend. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but when I go into Barnes & Noble wanting specific books and they don't have them, and the clerk or the salesperson asks me, do you want me to order it online for you? I always say no. I'm not sure why I say no. I know that I want the book. I know that I came here specifically for the book, but I always say no. So I finally went on the Barnes & Noble website by myself. I picked out 9 books that I've repeatedly went to Barnes & Noble about, and I bought them. So today we're going to be going over those books. Obviously I have not read them yet, so I can't give you my opinion about them, other than obviously I was very interested by what I know of them. We have multiple boxes, as you can see, because even though when I placed the online order it said it would only take 2 to 3 days, this took over 2-3 weeks. The first package came, I think, maybe a week later, and then I waited another week to get the other 2 packages. Anyway, let's get into it. The first book I received in the mail was Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is the first book in the series, Poison Study, and I actually don't know that much about it. All I know is that it's about a girl, I think, who is arrested for trying to assassinate someone. I do not know the reason why, but because of that she has to choose between being executed immediately or becoming a poison tester. So basically she has to risk her life every time she tries the food for the commander, I think he's called. I picked this up because I've always been interested in poisons and herbology and alchemy. Plus I was also interested in the author since I haven't seen anything else by her and I don't think she's extremely well known. I can't remember from who or where I got this recommendation from, but I've been literally wanting this book for years. I have really high hopes for a strong female protagonist on this one since she already seems to be very driven from the synopsis. So the week after I got the Poison Study, I got this kind of medium flat package. This package came with 4 of the books I ordered, and the first one I saw was The Archived by Victoria Schwab. By the way, don't you just love the tagline of this book? This book is a young adult paranormal fantasy, and it follows a girl who works in a place called the Archive, hence the name. So the Archive is kind of described as a library which houses what are called histories, aka the dead or spirits. So the protagonist's job is to be a keeper of these histories and make sure that no spirits escape and that all spirits are basically kept in their rightful place. So it kind of sounds like she's maybe a modern day ferryman for the dead. Obviously being someone who's really interested in Greek mythology and someone who's really interested in the Greek god Hades and the River Styx, I had to pick this book up. It also weirdly reminded me of the Beautiful Creatures series. There's also a magical library in that series, and I used to really love that series when I was younger. I also just think it's a really interesting concept that the protagonist of this is a librarian of the dead, and also the way it compares the human soul to a book. I will actually probably end up reading this book pretty soon because I'm reading This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab right now and I'm really liking her writing style, so I'm looking forward to this book. The next book I got was The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a young adult historical fiction fantasy. I've heard a lot of booktubers talk about this book, so I've been curious about it for a very long time, and I actually got it as a suggestion because I asked the YouTube book club that I'm a part of if they had any suggestions for people who were really missing the Beautiful Creatures series. So it's ironic that I actually just mentioned that series. Basically, I asked for a book suggestion that was an historical fiction but also a fantasy, and people really went crazy over this one. So I don't know too much about this book. All I know is that it's set in the 20s and it follows a girl who is exiled from her hometown to go live in New York City with her uncle. The protagonist has supernatural powers, so when she goes to live with her uncle, who is an occult enthusiast, she doesn't want to let on that she has these powers. But when her uncle is called to a crime scene where there are occult symbols present, the protagonist realizes that she can help solve the murder. That's basically all I know from reading the synopsis and having had suggestions for this book. But this is another book that I've really been wanting for a long time. I can't tell you how many times I was in the mood to read a book like this, but simply because I was too lazy to order the book myself and too scared to have someone else do it for me, I never did. So this is also pretty high on my need to read list right now. So the next book I received was Red Winter by Annette Marie. I think this is the only recent book that I've been wanting that I decided to get online because they definitely didn't have it in the store. It's a young adult fantasy set in Japan, and since I so thoroughly enjoyed Smoke in the Sun, because I enjoy Japanese culture and Japanese mythology, I really wanted to pick this one up. I've been getting random ads online for this book, and I think it's because I do watch a little bit of anime, and I always really liked Kami-sama Kiss. So the internet knew to target me on this book. I just always really liked the natural spirit component of Japanese mythology, and the protagonist of this novel is a girl who is a kamigakari. So basically she's a vessel for a goddess, and in a few short months she's going to take on that role as the human host. I'm pretty sure this has a very strong romantic component, considering that Kami-sama Kiss does, and this literally was advertised with the words, "If you liked Kami-sama Kiss." So it sounds like her romantic interest will be a yokai, which is a spirit of the earth who dislikes the goddess that will soon inhabit her body. That's all I can really conclude from the synopsis on the back and from Goodreads. I do have to say though that the cover of this book is kind of hideous. I think the colors are pretty, but I'm really not digging the 3D model looking girl on this cover. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So the next book in this package was The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison. This is a thriller, mystery, horror that I've been wanting for a very long time. I was on a big thriller kick maybe a year or two ago, and I heard of this book. I've also been really craving thriller lately, so I'll be happy to finally dig into this book. I'm not sure how it's a series, but it is. I think it's the first book, and it might actually be a duology. But basically, it's about a garden where some psychopath keeps abducted young girls he calls butterflies. This overseer is referred to as the gardener. If you think that sounds terrifying, so did I, and that's why I wanted to read this book. I think the investigative mystery aspect of this book comes into play when the FBI brings in a survivor of this garden and questions her. I'm not sure what comes of this, but obviously I don't think she just tells them where the garden is and who the culprit was. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to unraveling the mystery of this book and kind of understanding what the hype was about. When I say hype, I don't really mean a large hype. This wasn't a super popular book, but the reviews I did see for this book were outstanding. Anyway, it's time for the big box. I guess you get some interesting coupons in here. Oh, and a wine voucher? I don't know what that is. Right at the top of this box is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is a young adult fantasy that I've been wanting for a long time. BookTube basically, I think, went crazy over this book. What intrigued me about this book is that it's about a princess who is trying to reclaim her dead mother's throne. In other words, she is trying to reclaim her birthright as Queen of the Tearling. It sounds like she does have some supernatural powers or abilities on her own. She possesses something called the Tear Sapphire, which is supposed to help her in her battle against what is known as the Red Queen. The Red Queen is apparently a sorceress who is out to get her. Obviously that kind of gives me Disney princess vibes, which I'm kind of excited about because I haven't heard that this is a super surface fantasy novel. I've heard that it's pretty in-depth and realistic, so I want to see how that Disney vibe kind of either goes away or gets stronger. The cover is also very pretty. I kind of wanted the hardback edition, but I also wanted money, so I didn't get it. The next book is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is a young adult paranormal fantasy set at Christmas time, which was very interesting to me. I heard about this a while ago and I was instantly intrigued because it's a retelling of Scrooge or the Christmas Tale. Basically, the protagonist of this book, Holly Chase, was visited 5 years prior to the start of this book by 3 ghosts. I'm assuming they were the past, future, and present. And then she died. So this follows her becoming the new ghost of Christmas past. It's not Christmas time right now, but I think it's maybe become abundantly clear that I really enjoy paranormal fantasy. I really enjoy ghosts in books, and I think it's an added bonus that this is set during Christmas. Of course, I probably won't read it during Christmas because I'm kind of itching to read it soon, but I'm very excited to start this. Okay, next up was Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane. This is the first book in the series, or duology, and this is a thriller mystery. I wanted this book around the same time that I wanted The Butterfly Garden and never got it. This is actually a very unhyped book, and there's like nothing on the cover to suggest that people read it. There's no reviews on it or anything. But there are so many reviews for this book, and they're all really good. I think there are almost 80,000 reviews on Goodreads, and it still has over 4 stars, which is really impressive for a mystery, thriller, suspense novel, because usually people are pretty tough on them. I'm including myself because, like I said in my last video, I usually don't like how mystery novels end. It follows a woman who is the mom of 2 children, and one day her husband gets into a fatal accident and his secret comes out, which is that he was a serial killer. So the protagonist, Gina, has to relocate herself and her children to a safer place and also change her identity. I think she ends up purchasing a house on the lake, which explains the title, and even though she settles in and things seem to be going fine, a body turns up in the lake. I'm excited to see what is done with this book, especially because the synopsis is kind of, it's not boring, but it's kind of a little bit basic for a mystery novel. Anyway, I am very excited to read this book. I am excited to see what all the online hype is about, and I will let you know what I thought. Okay, the last book I got during this haul was The Gates by John Connolly. This is a young adult horror fantasy, and it's the first book in the series Samuel Johnson vs. the Devil. So this novel is set during Halloween time, and Halloween is my favorite holiday, so that alone drew me in. I believe it begins 3 days prior to Halloween, and I hope that it does actually cover Halloween. I doubt that it wouldn't. So the protagonist is a boy that witnesses the summoning of the devil. This unintentional summoning results in a tear in the universe through which all manner of devilish creatures are allowed to walk the earth. I don't know too much else about this novel except for the fact that Samuel seems to be the hero of this story. He seems like he's the one who's going to fight back the devils. I believe he's very young, so that made me think it might be a young adult fiction novel. But since horror is one of the genres that Goodreads gives it, I'm thinking it might actually be at least for older teens or more properly young adults. This is also a newer find actually, because I saw it in the library not too long ago. It wasn't available. However, the cover of this and the synopsis really drew me in. I think it's because of Halloween, but I figured since I got a Christmas book, I could treat myself and get a Halloween book, since that is where my heart is, always in Halloween. Anyway guys, that's the end of this haul. It was definitely a bigger haul for me. I've had bigger hauls, I think all of us have, but considering it was online and considering it was a little bit spur of the moment, even though a lot of these books I've wanted for a long time, I decided that it definitely warranted a video. These are all books that I probably would recommend even though I haven't read them because I've wanted them for so long, and they hold just as much interest for me despite me having wanted them years ago. If any of these descriptions intrigued you, then let me know, or if you have actually read any of these books, please let me know. It would be nice to get a review from a first-hand experiencer. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy these types of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe, or even if you didn't, please tell me and I will do other videos. I am planning another book video for this Thursday and hopefully for this next Saturday, and I'm hoping to do another book haul from Ollie's. I'm not sure when that will happen, but it will probably be soon. So if you're interested in book hauls, if you're interested in saving money when you buy books, I would highly recommend sticking around. I really like to save money, that's why all these books are paperback. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope to see you back here on Thursday.